Okay, a common question that we get asked is which weight of gloves should we be using and which type of gloves should we be using. I've got an assortment of gloves here that I'm going to show you, and I'm going to explain exactly which ones you should be using for the type of training that you're doing.
Okay, so from the left to the right we have bag mitts into children's sparring gloves into different weights of sparring gloves.
The first type of gloves we should concern ourselves with are bag mitts. Now these are fine for hitting pads or for use in a boxercise or fitness-based class, but they're not really that great for hitting a heavy bag like we've got over there. That one's 130 kilos. You can't use them for sparring either. Now let's talk about sparring gloves and the different weights we would use in different circumstances. So I like the boxers, when I'm coaching them, to be wearing their contest weight gloves. So a 10-ounce glove would be for a boxer of welterweight and above, and for welterweight below, they'd be using an 8-ounce glove. So when they're on the pads with me, I like people to be using their contest weight gloves because it gets them a chance to get a good feel as to what that's like. I wouldn't have them using this on a heavy bag though. On a bag like this one, a big heavy bag, I prefer them to be using a much heavier glove. That one there is a 16. I would prefer them to do that because there's more hand protection. They're just practicing their work, their combinations, etc. on there. So as a general rule, I'd prefer them to have heavier gloves when they're on a heavy bag. Also as well, when they're sparring, I prefer them to be wearing something around about a 14 to a 16 like this, because A, it's a bigger profile glove, B, it slows the hands down, C, the padding protects the other boxer. Wearing your contest weight gloves when sparring is not really a good option, and most coaches won't allow that. Depending on the coach, they will allow anywhere between a 12 and up to a 16 for sparring. I prefer 16s, but some coaches will go down to 12s. Speaking of 12s, 12s are the best compromise, if you like. And 12s are fantastic if you're using this for personal training, if you're using it if you want one all-purpose pair of gloves. A 12-ounce set of gloves is an ideal size for you. That's a perfect size for you. And you can use for pretty much most circumstances. Well, what about kids, I hear you say? Well, this is really important, very important point. And I prefer kids, if they're going to be using it, to use a correctly sized sparring glove for them. This is a set of 6s, so that would work for most kids up to about 11, there or thereabouts. But the important thing is the distance here. Now that has to match up to the distance between here and here. And the problem is that if I'm using a bigger glove, like this 12-ounce glove, the problem is that the kid's hand is going to be in this position because they can't get around the grip bar here, because the glove is too big for them. So these are not safe for them. So correctly sized kids' gloves are great, or you can use a bag mate. The reason a bag mate is great is because it actually changes in size according to where your hand is in there. So a bag mate is actually safer for kids than a full-size sparring glove. Let's consider the type of equipment we're going to use as well. Now this is a floor-to-ceiling ball, or top and bottom ball. Now on these, this drill is all about accuracy. There's no heavy load coming back through your hand, so contest weight gloves or lighter weight gloves are great on this. So I would prefer contest weight gloves on this. When using a heavy bag, especially one like this, now this thing weighs 130 kilos, it's filled with granulated rubber instead of packed clothing. So this thing is very heavy, very solid. It also, this one's got a ground anchor, so if you are giving a properly good wellying, it actually keeps it relatively still instead of the thing flying around all over the place. On this kind of bit of equipment, or on this kind of bag, I suggest that you're going to wear something like a 16-ounce glove, because that's going to give you the hand protection that you're going to need in order to protect yourself, because the loads coming back down your skeletal structure are higher. So the more padding and the better padding you've got, the better it's going to be for you. We also have some circumstances where we don't actually want to be wearing gloves. That's a strange thing to say, but believe me, you're better off on a speed bag or speed ball without any boxing gloves whatsoever. Now this is a very small one, this is a peanut ball, but so long as someone doesn't do anything catastrophically stupid such as punch the top platform, There's no real risk of danger to your hand. So this ball is very, very light, and there's going to be very little in the way of impact coming back to you. So my suggestion is with this, you're going to use no gloves whatsoever. In summary then, for children, correctly sized, fitted sparring gloves or bag mitts. Bag mitts also for fitness-based classes. They're perfect for that. For boxers, on pads, contest weight sparring gloves. For boxers, sparring or hitting a heavy bag, for anyone hitting a heavy bag, 16-ounce plus sparring gloves, a good padding in them too. As an all-round, all-purpose glove, 12 ounces perfect for fitness. I hope you found that useful. Check out our other videos, especially how to wrap your hands, that's essential. Check out our footwork training system videos, see if there's something you can learn that will help your footwork improve.